welcome to this week's episode of Leadership Soundbites with Michelle and my super special guest, Pierre Khawand. Khawand, I'm so sorry if I said that wrong. I've always just said Pierre.
It's good, you got it.
Founder of People-OnTheGo, and Pierre's focus, and I appreciate, and our topic is going to be around mindfulness, and we'll end up with this, and it'll split into 3 different podcasts. There's a focus on leadership, creativity, innovation, and mindfulness. Pierre and I met when I was working at Sutter Health. Pierre was an outside contractor, and I was, and I'm going to say it very strongly in bolded, capitalized letters, very blessed to be able to be in the room with you, sir, as you did your activities and the engagement and the leadership development, what you did with the people in the room before I came on, and later on in the day with leading with a coach approach. I learned so much from you. And I just remember back to those things, and to this day I will pull them into the room in conversations that I have with leaders, and it's your voice is in my head. So
Thank you, Michelle. Yeah.
I appreciate that. So we're going to kick it off with a quote that we aligned on. Like I said, the focus of this and then the next 2 episodes after this is around mindfulness, and we've taken different slices of that. And so the first slice around mindfulness is as a core leadership competency. And so the quote we're going to kick it off with is, "The best leaders are those who are fully present, listening and responding with clarity and compassion." And when I think about that, and I think about that in terms of mindfulness, I refer all the time that as leaders, we have all these spinning plates, okay? And a lot of times all our focus is just on, as they start to wobble, we get them going again, right? So that they can start spinning again. Well, when we're in that space, there's not time for forward momentum. And I think if we can get ourselves to a place where we're really present, where we really are mindful of what's going on, what our actions are doing, the path that we're taking, the noise that's getting in the way, if we can just ground ourselves and get in that space of mindfulness, we're going to have clarity to be able to move forward and engage our teams more thoughtfully, instead of feeling like this combination of Tasmanian devil and a hummingbird, right? Flitting from thing to thing, spinning around, out of control. And I think that's what mindfulness brings to leadership, especially in this day and age. So my 2 cents. So Pierre, welcome to the conversation. What's on your mind, sir?
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. It's always so exciting to be in conversation with you. And I'm so looking forward to these topics, which are very dear to my heart. This mindfulness, I'm bringing mindfulness to leadership. So yeah, this is a great quote and lots of great perspective you shared. And I'd like to elaborate on a few things related to that. I'd like to start with this clarity, this idea of being clear, responding with clarity. And on the surface level, it may appear to be like easy, and this is about being clear, constructing our sentences in a way that makes sense so people understand them. But in the context of mindfulness, clarity goes to a whole new level. So clarity means it's related to self-awareness and to awareness of other people. So the way I would describe it, it's multidimensional. It starts with being clear on what's happening, so observing and having that ability to observe the facts and what's going on truly, and then being clear on what's going on inside as a result of observing. And now we're talking about our thoughts that are kicking in. We're talking about our emotions, our body experience. So being clear on that and being able to differentiate between what is reactivity and what is wisdom. And then having the ability to dig deeper and look into what are the underlying needs for us in that situation, for the people around us in that situation, and then bringing clarity to what's going on with all those dimensions in mind. So that is the clarity that creates a much more wise response. And also it's the one that invites including everybody, seeing everybody, having that empathy and compassion. So it kind of all comes together with that level of clarity.
Okay, so when you're talking, right, you're going through all this stuff and you've done it for so long that I'm thinking as a leader, I'm like, holy cow, how am I in the moment, right? Gonna be, I'm, steering the ship or giving commands of what the ship is, or my people are doing whatever. And oh, by the way, I have all these levels, right, of what have to happen. And so part of me is like, I have an OS moment, right? And then so here's my question, right? Because I think people going, I can't do all that. Where do you start? Where do you start?
Yeah, great observation, Michelle. Yes. So this is a journey. When we talk about mindfulness, I think sometimes in the media and the quick messages we get, it gets almost propagated as being like, yeah, be mindful, or yeah, be present. Like being present, we talk about it, it's almost mentioned everywhere in every conversation and every post. So those are not, there are no quick fixes, there are no shortcuts, there are no hacks to get to those levels of clarity I was describing earlier. This is really taking on the mindfulness journey head on and realizing this is a long journey. This starts with practice. This is training the mind over time after time after time to be more present, more focused, training the nervous system to be calmer and being able to have that pause and to notice what's going on, and that takes time. So basically, my overall suggestion or belief is that in as a leader we need to make that intentional decision. We are taking on a mindfulness journey to help us strengthen our leadership journey. This is not something you can hear in a few sentences or read in a book or something I mentioned in our mindfulness program. I say at the beginning of the program, we say, yeah, we want to be present. And then I mentioned being present is not going to make much sense to you right now. But after 49 days, this is the program length, 49 days of everyday mindfulness practice, you're going to feel what being present means. So really, it is about internalizing this. It's going to take some time. Eventually, we will start to experience those aha moments where in the moment when the emotions are high, we're able to pause, notice the emotions, and then respond more clearly and more. Yeah, but thank you for mentioning this, because sometimes it's misleading. Like, yeah, do those 4 things. There are no shortcuts.
Yeah, it's so funny you talk about that. Is I go back to what you're talking about is practice. So it is retraining to be able to do it. And it's the same thing with coaching, right? Is that one of the 3 key things, because we teach leader as coach too, is presence, which presence is this very elusive thing to try and describe, right? And then active listening. So am I all in? And I don't think you could do active listening without presence. I really don't. And then powerful questions. And it's not the right question, but it's a question based on what you hear and what you see and what you're feeling and what the other person needs in that moment that makes it so powerful, right? And that stuff, to your point, is years of practice in setting the intention to go, you know what? This doesn't exist anymore, but this, it does. So it was Gina Temple. We were in the room with her, and she said this thing very, to your point, very straightforward. She said, when you're present, be present. And to your point, super easy words, and people will walk away and go, what the frick does that, how do I do that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So so true and so worthwhile. So I think this is one of the barriers that we see sometimes when professionals, especially people in management and leadership positions, they expect too much too quickly. Like, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna get the outcome. And I think the training and coaching that would apply would be, this is setting an intention and doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
And then things will start to unfold. So if we relieve ourselves from this responsibility of making it happen, and we just set the intention and do the work, things will unfold, and we will be very pleasantly surprised with how those interesting pauses and moments of feeling calmer in the midst of craziness, how they start to show up, and then we, over time, we strengthen them and continue that journey. So yeah, it's really setting back expectations and being in the journey.
Yeah. So, thank you. I appreciate this topic. I appreciate the foundation, if you will, and the fact, the connection back to it is a key leadership competency. And especially in this day and age where things are going at breakneck pace. So thank you for that. So question for you, sir. What is one thing that you would love people to walk away with just around this particular topic on mindfulness being a leadership competency?
Yeah, it is, if you are not yet on that mindfulness journey, this is where it all starts. And not to kid ourselves and think, yeah, I can, do one of these practices once in a while and I'm there. It's really starting with a daily practice that is rich, and that facilitates that training of the mind, training of the nervous system, adopting the new philosophies of empathy and compassion in the workplace. So yeah, it's starting that journey, looking at it as a journey and
Mm-hmm.
starting that journey. I know many of our listeners are probably already on some kind of journey. So I would encourage them to really think where they are, reflect on where you are right now, and what can you do in 2024. We're doing this at a very good time to really strengthen that journey and make it, it's not a secondary thing. I do this when I have time. It's more, this is the core that's going to change everything.
Yeah. I appreciate that. So my brain went to this. It's almost like we need to get it to the point that it's like breathing. We
Yes.
don't think about it. It happens essentially on its own. And in order to do that, it does require integrating it into who you are. We have these routines, we have these practices, these things that we do every single day that if we don't do them, we dramatically notice that they're not part of our life that day, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to say coffee, right? Most people have their routine in the morning. So this is the level of intensity and intention and practice that mindfulness needs to do. And what I'll say is start small. It doesn't mean that you go, if you've never exercised a day in your life, don't go to the gym for an hour and a half, 5 days a week. Okay. Hello. So figure out what it is to dip your toe in the water and do it consistently. James Clear talks about atomic habits. It's that incremental stuff that you start training your mind and your body to expect it. And then you ramp up to where there's more time. So I appreciate the time in the room with you, sir. I've missed it. So
Likewise, Michelle.
until,
I always enjoyed your presentations and our conversations about all these great topics. So thank you for having me today.
thank you. Yeah. And so until next time, please like, share, subscribe. This has been Leadership Soundbites with Michelle and Pierre. And until next time, we have 2 more parts to this puppy. So we'll see you soon. Thank you.